effect. The breadth and scope of the controlling cause, the life force of a city, house, or kingdom designated by nafsha seems to be total, for to run counter to it is death for a city, house, or kingdom. In Matthew 9:21, it is stated by the writer of the gospel, with the apparent belief that he would be understood, that a woman desiring to be healed of a 12-year flow of blood was saying in her nafsha, inside herself, if I could only touch the fringe of his garments, I would be healed. Immediately thereafter, she did exactly what she was saying in herself, nafsha, indicating a set or a goal within her nafsha controlled her behavior. Because it was a real belief, because he wasn't believing in a lie. He was believing in the truth. The big truth is, the big problem of life is that you can't believe your preacher because he's lying. He is not the ultimate authority. You learned it from a book. You can learn it from me if you think I'm real. If you think I really understand, no, if you know that I understand, and I do understand, that's if I do, and if you understand what I understand, you're well. The trouble is you've got to get rid of the other self, see, the other nafsha, the intellect, in which you reside improprietously and are entertained endlessly and distracted. See? Now, he comes as this. From the Aramaic Gospel of John, which was first stated in Greek, the concept of will is tied to nafsha, with these words attributed to Jesus: I cannot of my own selfhood, nafsha, undertaking anything. But even while I'm hearing, I condemn, and my decision is just, for I do not seek my will to be served, rather the will of him who sent me. So it's not, again, nafsha is a self, see, and a faith in a self, God. But a separated nafsha, a separated self would be sickness. But a united nafsha is healing, faith. There's two kinds of faith: love of the world, faith in others. Other faith in, well, it's hard to describe, isn't it? I'm saying it and I can't repeat it in my own words. Clearly, there is in the statement recognition of nafsha as a source of control for judgment and comprehension. Isn't that what I'm saying? If you suspend your judgment and remember, emotions pull you down from the God-giving discernment, which is a kind of judging. I can look at a person and see that he's doing stupid things. I don't judge him for it. I don't get upset and condemn him for it. See? Nor do I praise him for something, because that's a judgment too. I watch. And then I'll be able to see the movements behind. I can see the reasons why he's behaved where he is, and he's not really a bad person. He's not in control of himself. Forgive him, Father, if I know not what he does. I don't know how he got that way. I wait. I'm not as perceptive as Jesus, but I'm following the rule. See? So I don't judge anybody. I discern, but I don't judge. There's a difference. One is a poison. One is the good thing poisoned. You've got a perception. Human perception is a gift. But when you add your ego to it, your ego meaning your pride, your will, see, what you think is your will. Remember, God has a will too. So there's another will that gives you doubt. And there's a part of it that likes to puff up over people as if it was God. And look down on somebody. And look for the worst in a person to judge. Wrong judgment. When you should discern the wrong of a person, even if they're the most evil people on earth, all the more reason why you shouldn't judge them, because that's how they get to you. See? Now, I'm ad-libbing a little bit. I hope I'm not straying from the point. So clearly in this statement, the recognition of nafsha is a source of control for judgment and comprehension. There it is. But not insisting control or initiating control. In other words, you don't want to try to control anything. meaning the discernment of something has within itself the power to do everything. The suspending of your judgment and discerning has a power you cannot feel. Gravity is made. Does anybody know what gravity is? Not even the scientists know what gravity is. They think it's a pull. Well, I've discovered it's not just a property of space. I'm distracting myself to make a point. It's not only is it a property of space, but space is a property of gravity. It goes back further than that. See, and gravity has a source. Gravity is a river that spins mass. But the scientists can't admit that what mass spins. They don't know and don't like to admit. They just say you have to conserve spin and momentum as a scientific excuse for why matter spins without a spin force. You got to have a spin force, but if you admit the spin force, you have to admit a spin source, and that's God. And they're not about to do that. It's unscientific to believe in God. But the same thing as this force within you. You don't have to understand it. I don't have to understand gravity unless I want to learn to get electricity from it and you make it a little bit more useful to us. I have to understand, I can see everything's made of it. Wow, I see the genius of it because I've written the book and everything leads to everything made of it. Every cause and effect, just from one thing from a source. I'm astonished, astounded. I keep writing, I can't finish. You see? There's no end to it. I've got to finish it somewhere. The purpose is to get machinery that runs free, electricity, and also prove without any shadow of doubt the universe springs from our Creator. But now, Him, wherever He is on the other side of that border, the uncrossable border physically, we can cross it inwardly. See? That's it. The uncrossable border that made the universe is talking to us and saying, come on back. Listen to me and let me shape me in you. Let me shape my nature in you. Let me put in you a power that cannot be penetrated, that cannot turn you into a clone of the world, like so many people are. Left and right, of right and wrong. See? Partisan politics. Bad. Right and wrong, that's forgotten. We should have a ministry of right and wrong, but then you wouldn't have that. See, so it's not possible for man to govern himself. Not possible. We do the best I can with government. What needs to be is the kingdom of heaven on earth. One nation under God has the potential of that. So we all forget that we're black and white and green and pink. We're Jewish, and we all forget that because that separates us, humanly speaking. And we all are born of God means we all see each other without judging. And those who see that you're not judging when they come against you and appreciate the love that's coming through that you don't even know is coming through you, you don't feel anything. You feel no power. They feel the power. The enemy feels when he attacks you, comes against you, and you don't respond. It frightens him because he advances through that, through your failing. He gets into you. But someone got into him. Then someone got into him before him. It's a system of cowards and bullies, creating cowards and bullies. See that? Doing unto others what was done unto you. And so, I think this energy that comes through you is healing. I should have died 30 times. My sons and my children don't know. I fell into the medical system because I was poisoned by amoeba, swimming in the ocean, amoeba, protozoa, the worst. I almost died. So I went into the medical system and never was I diagnosed, never was I treated properly. The managed care was managed illness. And people are dying like flies because no cause is being established or recognized or being treated any place. 200,000 people die every year from hospital mistakes. And people live halfway between health and unhealth. and then all the way. But it's more. But then that's why there's more wanting more welfare, more Medicare. That's why it's such an important thing, because they're controlling minds through your neediness. You will elect the people that will. You elect the people that are controlling you. Like, what was it? Timothy, whatever his name is, the Secretary of Treasury. Yeah, he says, I won't use this as an exact quote. Forgive me, but he's talking about the stress we got right now, the crisis. He says, never waste a crisis. We can do things we never could do before. He's not telling you what he means. He can make things worse, and give solutions that make things even more worse. Worse. That's what he means. You got to read these people. All right. So when they read me, I got crosshairs on my back and my front. I've always had them. Don't worry. Yeah. Well, I'm still here. Maybe not for long. Who knows? But never mind. Now, from the above uses, it is abundantly clear that nafsha, self, at the time of Jesus was generally understood as the controlling entity behind the physical and mental behaving self. With the unification of cause and effect implicit in the Aramaic and the unification of control source for the mental and physical implicit in these uses, nafsha therefore stands for all mental, physical conditions and the control source of mental and physical development. The span of meaning lays the basis for its translation into the various English words of soul, self, itself, and light. It is also noted here in the above, quote, uses, implied the suggestion that nafsha may have a quality of performance, meaning of the way you perform. With the leper, the instruction to show his nafsha or self suggests his nafsha might have been changed for the better. And might have improved his performance. With respect to nafsha of the city, the house, and the kingdom, the implication is correctness of truth in addition to the controlling power, envelops the meaning of the words. This implication of quality of effect, but mixed with an intrinsic tie to truth, is borne out in other statements, and so on and so forth. And there's also very nice things in here. Well, I'll just go to the very end. At the end he says, because this is, I don't like to read, but these things are beautiful. So in Matthew 10:39, it's indicated that nafsha operating within these certain guidelines shall cease to operate as nafsha. There he states, who finds his own nafsha shall lose it. Who finds his own self, the wrong self, shall lose it. But who loses his own nafsha, self, shall find it. See, because there is a self that we need to discard. In meditation, the reason why the meditation, which we don't call it meditation, we call it coping strategies for the military. There's no mention of religion in my meditation exercise, in case you haven't noticed it. It is simply a simple of words, system of words like breadcrumbs, like clues to where you should sit before the king. The protocol. See, before, and as the doors open and you start to feel embarrassed before something mightier than yourself. And so this is very humbling. It's always humbling to admit you're wrong and go up to someone's door. As you approach somebody's door, you feel like you want to run away. And the person's door opens and the person smiles, and then maybe you say something or not, maybe you just run from that. But that's the prodigal son who took the fortune, his inheritance, and squandered it, and ended up in a pigsty, and then thought to himself, my father's house hold servants fare better than me. And on his way back, he almost changed his mind because he felt ashamed. He thought to himself, my father won't forgive me, because he judges God like he judges as a God. So he doesn't forgive that easy. And so, but he feels pain. And the pain of that thing inside him doesn't want him to knock on that door of the Father. But the Father, knowing this, sees him halfway. Isn't that a beautiful story? See, so you don't have to go all the way, you just go halfway. And then at first you feel the pain, and all of a sudden you feel relief. And it's the way you close your eyes, and the way I guide you. See, so when people, ministers and rabbis, teach prayers to mutter, they mutter useless things. And Jesus, in the preface to the Lord's Prayer, says, do not mutter vain repetitions, for you think you shall be heard for much speaking. Those are the exact words. See? But after this manner, he didn't say you have to say it. After this manner, our Father, which art within us. Right? Hallowed be thy name, not my name. I'm adding a few words. Thy kingdom come, not my kingdom come. On earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily life force. Bread is life force. Come on now, it's not bread. But it is bread also, because things will go right for you. You never see the righteous begging for bread, do you? You always see others. The righteous never beg for bread. They'll always find a way. It'll always be shown to them. No matter what condition they're in, they find their way. At the lowest point, they start to blossom and leave that other world behind. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our trespass, as we forgive those. That little word. It's like Clinton's is. He made too much of it. But if you forgive as you were forgiven, forgive us as we forgive. So it means if you meet the next moment without judging and with patient endurance and see the effect of it, maybe you say something or maybe you don't. Maybe you do something, maybe you don't. You're not doing it. It just happens. And when you're angry, it just happens too. But it's all wrong. See? What a distinction this is. One's from a different energy, a life force. Forgive us our trespass as we forgive those who trespass against us. Now a bad translation. And lead us not into temptation is bull. Lead us away from temptation. God does not lead you into temptation. He doesn't lead you into temptation and delivery at the same time. That doesn't make sense. You don't have to be a linguist, a translator, to know that. But we mouth it just the same. We don't question. Even question that there's such a thing as God. That's a good thing. Look to see if there is. Not say there isn't. That's denial. How do you know there isn't? You haven't looked. Idiot. You're not going to look, idiot. You don't want to know, idiot, because you just want to rule. You want to be your own ruthless self. I get it. You get pleasure in a perverse way. I get it. And you're not going to screw with my brain. Anyway, coming back to the Lord's Prayer. Forgive us as we forgive others, and lead us away from temptation. And that's the magic part. When you have this field energy around you, it solves problems you would have struggled with and fought and failed. Yes, David?
If I remember right, that Aramaic...
Would you give don't we have more than one?
That's right.
Oh, well, why don't we just, someone suggest it.
if I remember right, the Aramaic that
Yeah.
you're holding in your hand there, the way that line is translated is, let us not yield to temptation.
That's all
Which
right.
makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. No, it's 6 of one, half a dozen the other. It just says it a little nicer, another way. If you can say it another way, it works. And so, deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom and the power. See, when you meditate and you find that relationship, you're not any different as far as you still look the same, but you look the same longer. You don't crinkle so easy.
Can I just give a little pitch? The
Yeah.
reason I remember that line is because I had lunch with you 20 years ago at Montsikazi, right after you published that book. And you had been saying for years and years that this line in the Lord's Prayer didn't really make sense, wasn't translated right, like you just said.
Yes.
And we were walking in, and we had the book, we read off the press, and opened it up, and I just pointed out what I just said. This is translated, let us not yield to temptation, which makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's
So I
somewhere
said
in
you were
here.
right
It's in
all
here.
along that you
Yeah,
picked up
it says it
badly
here, and I
translated.
haven't found it yet,
Yeah.
but I'm glad
Yeah.
you brought it up. By the way, all the books don't look like this. But this is the book, it's hardcover. I valued it more than my own. But somehow it didn't sell.
You've got a fabulous set of 9 tapes that go along.
Oh yeah, thank you.
This is your book, right?
No, I didn't write this.
Okay.
This is translated from a very famous, actually, it became so famous in Eisenhower's time. There was a motorcade with this scroll in it, and it was, insured for a lot of money, and then it disappeared, and I guess it's in a museum somewhere, and someone got hold of it and translated it beautifully, and I got the rights to it, so I have to give them $2, 10%, every time I sell a book, but it's okay. So, I do recommend it.
And the audio.
And the audios. I let me just say this. When I had KOPE, we had foundation, actually my family owned it, and we donated the proceeds when we sold it to the foundation, because we didn't want any conflict of interest. See? So we donated all of it to the foundation. But I used to do a talk once a week on this, and it's beautiful. I don't think I could do it again. And so they're on tape, but can we put them on CD?
They're in the process.
Of putting on?
We're doing that right now, and the thing that struck me about it is it's really one of the best insights that I've heard into really what Christianity means and what Jesus' message was, because you take that word by word and what the meaning, and you can follow in the book. And it's quite stunning, yes.
It is stunning. So here it is. Can we get a shot of it? Do we have a shot? You'd like to have a shot of this? I hope I've got clean fingernails.
Really offsets it.
See, this doesn't come with it. This is for me. Okay, thank you. Kaboris.
What about if we want it with the Post-it notes?
But you can have it. Here. There you are. See? You didn't push.
Thank you.
All right. Now, look, I spoke for an hour and a half. Did it feel like an hour and a half? What happened to time? And what happened to time? See? You weren't bored. You were listening. You probably your butt is all crinkled up in the chair. And you didn't notice that. You'll have to straighten it out later. Good thing it isn't. What did she say?
That sure is funny.
Well, she was listening. She didn't go to sleep. How old is she?
She's 5.
Well, you were listening, weren't you? It's all right. She didn't know what to say anything.
Roy,
Yes.
this yielding not to temptation
Yes.
thing, the way that Christianity has taught us about that, isn't it generally that we're looking for temptation out there from somebody and stuff? Isn't one of the biggest temptations is not to stay conscious?
Well, you
Isn't
see,
it
you
an
see-
ongoing temptation?
Well, let me put it this way. The problem with the human race is what we call sin. But we don't understand what that is. But it's a state of being lost in your head. In other words, it's a state of the nafsha, self. The self that is the extension of God the self. The Son, God the Father. See, so if you see the Father, if you see the Son, you see the Father. You know, it doesn't mean to say the Son is the Father. It means if you see me, I see one of my kids, you say, oh, you know, there's a familiar spirit there. You look like your dad. You know, you just have certain mannerisms like your dad. As a matter of fact, people who you meet on the street, often, if you know who I am, and they have that same quality. Do you listen to Roy? Yeah, I do. Or, they've never heard of me, but still, it's the same quality. That's why they ask, see? So, the state of mind is always being separate from you're the controlling entity. If you're lost in your thoughts, the controlling entity is environment. And the people who hide behind the foliage of the environment, the words, the music, and the art, and the government, and the religion, is the spirit of that in the environment. They must be the extension of your influence, not you theirs. See, so when I walk into a room, I'm not trying to take control. The room tries to take control of me and everybody in it, somebody in it, collectively in it. No way, Jose. See? But I'm not doing it willfully. That was where you went wrong, right? See that? And so you have the talent. Drop the will. And things go a little slower for a while, but they get better. And it's permanent. The love that you have from people will then be permanent because they feel no will. The minute they feel a will, good people don't want nothing to do with you. Got it? And you're a good person. But they want to stand back. I see good. You know I do. And I see a person that wants to learn. And this person is just beginning. And you've started years ago and you forgot it, and now you're in the state. Now you want to get out of it. But it's very simple for you. That's not hard for you. Just learn to stand back. And don't watch the tendency to want to push. See how easy it gets. But trouble is with things getting easy. You can't take pride in it. That's you can't evolve your body. You can't remake yourself. Because you need the stress, like the animal, that sort of adds to itself by the stress and gets the strongest one, and they gets I ate him.
Is it credit? Wanting to feel like it came from you?
Yeah.
Through you?
See what I did? I did it my way.
Through you, from you versus through you.
I did it my way. And God's saying, you go have the highway. Well, now we can take, I won't say take a credit card, but I'm sorry. What do they call it? Text messages.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought it was a credit card for a minute, but you
we'll
can put.
take those too.
By the way, we could put a donation. If you put a donation, is this the camera I'm on? Hello. Yeah. Would you give a donation to the foundation? We work hard to help the soldiers. It'll be 26,000 when I've ordered the 10,000, which I'm ordering now for the troops. They've ordered it, and it's getting very high in the government. It's a grassroots movement. The soldiers want it. They're hungry for it. The psychiatrists and the ministers there, and the generals want it. And so it's helping them, and they don't know why it helps. I address these two qualities, nafsha, the mind and the body. That's why they get well so quickly. And then all they open their eyes and they've found Jesus. And I haven't mentioned him. In Tanzania, the natives are becoming Christians who listen to it in Swahili. And they wake up and they discover Jesus. And I'm Jewish. How does this happen? This is Meshuggah.
That's crazy in Hebrew.
It does. It makes sense though, because one of our boys made it. If he could do it, I can do it. But there's a little help from him. Now the question.
Okay, is it normal to be unable to hold the objective state for long throughout the day and have good days and bad days? Because it concerns me greatly to see that these thoughts are able to snap me back into them like a rubber band, into the endless loop of thoughts.
Yeah, well, it depends upon the strength of your longing. Because, look, I have people in this room I've known for a long time. There are very few new people listening here. And it's taken them a while. And in that sense, I'm an earth shepherd. See? And you're the earth sheep. Because there are some people get it out there, a Mexican illegal alien crossing the border who has the smallest amount of smidging of English. Like that, they get it. But there's a stubbornness in all of us, conditioning layers and layers and layers. and sort of you don't quite hear me yet. You know, my wife, 56 years, she still hasn't got it. But she doesn't know why she hasn't got it. And then she judges me for being persistent. But I gotta be. I'm not persistent nagging. I'm persistent when I see, just a minute, you don't talk that way in front of the guest. Or you've forgotten to offer the coffee to the guest and you've forgotten your manners. Or she's got the wrong energy with the kids. I said, kids, I have to talk to your grandma a minute. Watch your energy. And the kids love me for it. If I didn't stop them, if I didn't, look, I may not have cured her, but I stopped the harm to the children because they expect the father to stand in for them because they're weak before their mother. So the mother may not like it. To hell with that. I'm looking out for the innocent one. Well, then maybe she'll think better of it. She'll get angry and pout for months on end, but then I don't care. Pout all you want. I'm going to be me. See, that's how I work. And so I will be me for 56 years, and one day she'll wake up. She's starting to.
You explained two things. Can I ask?
Yeah, microphone. Do you mind? You don't mind being photographed, do you?
No, not at all. The difference when you say change the energy, because we've
You
talked
can't
about
change it.
So it's
It changes.
observing the wrong energy and allowing the right energy through.
Admitting the wrong self, nafsha, as seeing it, because most of the times you don't want to see it. So we put out the light that will show it to us and shine on it and melt it. See?
So in that moment, when you're observing yourself,
Just watch it.
And you just watch it.
Just watch it, and the act of watching it. The way I have a way of saying it which is a little unpleasant, uncouth, but I'll say it anyway because I'm not like other preachers. I mean, actually, I'm not a preacher. I don't know what I am, to tell you the truth. But it's like, well, let me put it this way. I was on Joe Pine's show. Does anybody remember Joe Pine? And he was always degrading and he had degrading people. And he would have a little small guy. You know Jabba the Hutt? You remember that little tiny creature that serviced Jabba the Hutt in Star Wars? Well, he was one of those. They went and tried to irritate all the guests to set them up to be intimidated by Joe Pine. So we're sitting there and he comes to me because I wasn't yet a guest. So he's sort of trying to set me up and the camera's on us. And he starts to intimidate. I said, I know what you're doing. You're trying to set me up to fail for your boss. Let me tell you how I see you. I said, you're the manure out of which I grow. Keep at it. Now, it's another way of saying it. Then Joe Pine said, when I got to his smoking, I said, see, you're no control of yourself. You can't stop smoking. Is this I can? Run in front of the audience. It's on television. And I said, no, you won't. You'll go back to it. And every week he'd say, you see, I've stopped smoking. I showed Roy I can do it. Then one week he was smoking right on the camera again, never said a word. Then he died from cancer. It couldn't happen to a nicer guy. Because that's what he makes a living out of people suffering and degrading.
So in that moment that you knew that he was trying to set you up,
Sure, I just know.
you were able to become an observer rather than a reactor.
But I could still speak truthfully. I said, that's what it. And now the same thing with your private life. You don't have a little creature, but it's there. It's in there somewhere. Jabba the Hutt fella's in there. You see, and so the way you look at it in the light of truth, and it doesn't want to see it. But it used to be you that thought it was you that wanted to see it. But it thought through you and it felt through you, and that's why it's a parasite. There's a certain kind of cricket. I saw it on National Geographic. I like that show. And you see some very interesting things, wonderful things. And these are sort of metaphors for us. If you look around, I have metaphors in my thesis for gravity, like flowing rivers and spinning eddies, being mass with a background force. So this cricket has a parasite in it, and it's wrapped itself into the intestine, or around the intestine and it goes the whole length, and it's a long thing. And then when it wants to reproduce itself, it makes the cricket do something that is not natural to it. It makes it commit suicide by jumping in the water. And then this thing comes out and lays its eggs and looks for the next opportunity. So I don't know what the nature of crickets are. Maybe the cricket is the wrong one. But the point is, it has a way of sending a message, chemical message to the brain. And we could be caused to commit suicide, can't we? That's not natural to us to jump into water or to cut our throat and cut our wrists and hang ourselves, is it? But something makes us do it. And soldiers come home with that spirit. Hello?
Live with Roy Masters. That's not Jiminy Cricket, right?
I think it needs saving.
I apologize.
That's all right. That's all right.
I have a question for you.
Yes,
Roy.
another one.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, just before you do that,
I had just
I just want to finish the thought. So when you look at that thing, you have to look at it as cow dung. The light shines on the cow dung, and the light doesn't have to do anything but shine on the cow dung, and little flowers grow out of it.
manure makes the flower.
There you go. It's really disconcerting to know you eat food that grows out of that.
Roy said that when I was 15, and I never forgot it.
But I got no choice.
And I had one more question, Roy, and
Yeah.
it was the difference between persistence and pushiness.
Well,
'Cause
persistence.
This is a fine line.
I'm persistent, but it's natural. I don't know I'm persistent. I'm not pushy. I don't have a will. I'm persistent with my wife.
So pushy is when the self is involved in
Yes.
an outcome.
You're frustrated because it didn't work, and you push harder to make it work.
Because you want a certain outcome instead of
It's
whatever
outcome
the
based.
outcome is.
It's outcome based.
Instead of whatever will be.
You don't want to be an outcome based
Right.
person.
Right.
Now it's a very strange thing because, but if it's your outcome, you've set a goal, and you want it to work, and so the evidence that you're outcome based, and not God centered, is frustration. Damned if you get it, and damned if you don't.
But in the world, with income and generating income, you set a goal and you say, I have to do this for this to happen.
Okay, but now, how many times have I asked you for money? I made a joke. But that was actually came into my mind accidentally, so I passed it off. We do need money, and a lot of people know it, but sometimes they have to be reminded a little bit. I'm not pushy. See, and yet somehow we make it. There's always enough.
Can
Well,
we be
there hasn't
persistent?
been enough. I've been losing a lot of money lately, but somehow I've got an inheritance coming, so that will make up for what people don't give. So I'm losing money. People don't give enough. But I'm not pushy. I'm just, oh, well, if I go out of business, I go out of business. What can I do? But I don't go out of business. I've been here for 49 years. It's on the air for 49 years, and no matter all the things that go against me, somehow I get through it. Sickness, troubles, people calling me all kinds of names. You could look on the internet and see what a horrible person I am.
I know better.
But somehow I make it. And I'm going to do it better. You just wait, you people out there.
With persistence.
My time's coming. My nafsha is coming. My time is coming. I'm just waiting my turn. I'm prepared. I'm disciplined. I've got the skills. I understand my enemy. And they don't understand me. And if they try to understand me, they'll get screwed. Pardon the way I said that.
Or cured.
Or cured. That's right. You try to understand me, you can't. You know what? I don't even understand me. I don't even know what I think. People say, what's he thinking? I don't know myself. What do you mean, what am I thinking? It hasn't come to me yet. Silly things pass before my brain, and they go by. But that's how, after a while, there are less and less of them, and more insight about everything. So I can write books that they've never been written before. I've got 17 that have never been written before. Now I'm going to have one more on science. That's never, ever going to be written again, because it's everything one. It completes science. To know what gravity is, then science will leap forward. Space travel becomes possible immediately with off-the-shelf technology. But I won't go into that. I'm not selling you that. You're not going to get a copy of that anyway. I may have to give some money back because people have bought some copies ahead of time and I can't give it now. I can't have my enemies have what I. So what?
We have some other great books.
Yeah, we have another book called on science, Finding God in Physics, which you'll love. It has a lot of the stuff that my book has, but it doesn't give you any secrets. It gives you the key to the kingdom, because I tie it together with spiritual things, like I did today a little bit, right? Well, thank you very much for. Unless you'd have one more.
There's a question here.
Okay, is it a
Okay.
good one?
I think so.
Okay.
I took my child out of school. Now I don't know where to begin to teach him, and I'm not sure what to do. My husband is outraged and said more or less that I don't know what I'm doing. I have begun to worry. I see that now because of my son's school requires that we show work that we did at home at the end of the school year.
Yeah, you don't want to take a kid out of school without, having some little curriculum. There's plenty of programs available on the internet, and you need to you tap into the homeschool system. And whereabouts does that lady live? Is she in? Doesn't say. Yeah, but the homeschooling is rampant, and you have a right to take your kids out of school. And if you don't, they'll move to another state. You don't want that child to. You don't want to send your child to be brainwashed and programmed, and what do they call it? Indoctrinated. Because that's why we have the problem today. We never attended to that, and the school unions are dangerous people. The school teachers, there's something wrong with them, but they're all nice, fat and sassy, and they are more loyal to their money than they are to the love of those children. And I have offered to debate their Goliath. Give me your educational Goliath and I'll show you. You do know what education is. I'll eat him for breakfast and pick my teeth with his bones. All right. But the point is, you tend to look into the internet and just find out. She can find out. And don't get angry with the husband, because, I don't know, maybe he wants more attention from her. And not to, you're going to have to learn to be, she has to learn to be very patient with the husband, do the right thing for the kid. Husbands can be wrong, and wives have right to stand up in the right way. Stand up in the right way and hold her ground. And don't let her be intimidated by the anger of her husband. He'll come around. Listen, in temptation, a 100-pound woman can twist a 250-pound man. All the more reason a 100-pound woman, if she's God-centered, can have a good effect on him and bring him around. Just don't hate him. Just let him froth and go angry, and let him come home, and he'll think better of it. Men tend to come around if a woman learns to be gracious, dignified, make him look silly. By contrast, she doesn't have to teach him; just have to be example, and then give him his breakfast and be just like nothing happened. But she's watching him, and he knows he's being watched. See, she's not doing it blindly to please him. She's watching him, and she's not judging him, and she sees the banaka blasts coming up, the degrading, the noises, the sounds, the displeasures. It doesn't bother her. It's just what's happened to her. And that happens, doesn't it? So,
This
I know
is the book we need. Eve's Second Chance.
Eve. That's a good title for the book.
I know.
I like that. You got your second chance.
I know.
Just use it well.
I am.
Take you a little while to meditate. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's lunch for you. There's no such thing as a free lunch, but it's free. Thanks for your donations.